What I want you to start doing is I want you to start exaggerating your breaths in. Breathe in a little harder and see how much easier it is to actually pay attention to that. You're able to feel it in your nose a little more. You're able to feel your expansion in your rib cage a little more. And just continue to do that as you bring your awareness to where you're feeling it. Take a small break. Now we're going to start practicing the exhales, and the exhales stay pretty consistent throughout the whole entire class. So you're going to take a breath in through your nose, and then you're going to fully exhale through your mouth, like you're fogging up a big glass window. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to deflate everything in your body. So every inch of air is getting pulled out of your mouth. And then just regular breath in through your nose. Just relax. It's a little different than the regular breathing exercises. So that's all I want you to focus on, is getting all the air out. And you're all muted, but I should be able to hear you. Big open mouth exhale. And just practice that. Practice deflating. Where do you feel that in your rib cage as you're getting all the air out? Each exhale gets longer. Now we'll start with our first move, which is just the breathing component of it. So legs are relaxed. In through the nose. Full breath out through your mouth. Exhale, 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 exhale. The longer you exhale, the more you should feel this tension building up. And then you're going to hold the air out for 5 seconds. And when you breathe in, just relax, completely let go. And back to the beginning. In through the nose. Full breath out. And that's all you're focusing on. You're pulling every inch of air out, and then you're holding it for 5 seconds, which might feel a little bit uncomfortable. And that's okay. And then as you breathe in, just totally let go. Start the exhale slow so you can make it long. And picture your whole body deflating, dropping down towards the ground, and then hold on to that position for 5 seconds. Your head's relaxed, neck is relaxed. Just everything is being driven just by your breathing. And take a small break. We're moving on to the second one. So we go about 3 different moves, and then we go through 3 rounds of that. So knees in front of your hips. You're not picking up your hips, you're rolling. So you're gonna roll your hips slowly, peeling them 1 vertebra at a time. You're gonna roll, continue to roll, continue to roll. You'll go about halfway up because you don't wanna arch your back, and then slowly drop on the way down. And then back to the rolling. You can just breathe in and out through your nose. Here you're focusing more on the move and then the muscles working. What you don't want to do is push the chair away from you. So the chair stays, pretend it has wheels on it, and you have to keep it right underneath your heels. And then nice and slow, you're going to peel slowly off the ground. Think 1 vertebrae at a time. And the only reason your hips are coming up is because you continue to roll, and then slowly come back down. Gerard, get even closer to the chair. Everybody looks good. And then both Sams, get closer to your chair or bring your knees closer to you. Yeah. And if you get distracted, go back to what move are you doing, which is rolling the hips. And what muscles do you feel working? Pay attention to what it's like to find the hamstrings as you're going on the way up and then slowly releasing them on the way down. And if the hamstrings cramp, start all over. If you're feeling way too much hamstrings by your knees, just drag less with the heels. Be less aggressive with that. But you definitely should feel a lot of hamstrings. And then Alex, try scooting in a little bit towards the chair. See if that gets rid of this here and more here. And relax into it a little more. And relax. So now legs get to relax. Now we're moving up to the upper body. Fingers are up towards the ceiling, elbows bent at 90 degrees. Allow your chest to move as you inhale, reach up, exhale through your mouth, deflate, deflate. And you need to move slow because you're going with your exhale. So it should last about 10 seconds. Inhale, reach back up with the other arm. Exhale, back down, deflate, deflate. And on this one, I want you to close your eyes and bring the awareness to where your hands are in space. Can you follow them with your attention? So inhale, reach up. Exhale, slowly deflate on the way down. Your shoulder comes off the ground. Allow your chest to rotate a little bit and then slowly control it on the way down as your chest rotates back to the ground. Each inhale, reach a little more. Your shoulder does come off the ground. Your head is relaxed. The slower you move, the more you can pay attention. And take a break. So this is the hard part about the internet, because I can see if someone's in front of me. By show of hands, did you feel like some tension be created at the end of the exhale? Like at the end of the exhale, you felt some abs? Awesome. If you didn't, exhale longer, like get all of it out. Now you're gonna go back to that and pay attention to, at the end of the exhale, you have all this tension. Like pay attention to that, everything that you feel, and then pay attention to letting it go. And that's all you're doing, is you're alternating from fully exhaling, holding on 5 seconds, and then letting go. And just keep going back and forth of holding on and letting go. So in through the nose, full breath out. You're holding and you're feeling everything that you just created by your full exhale, and then you let it go. So go ahead and get started. In through the nose, full breath out. And you don't have to use your arms on this one, just the exhaling. So we're back to the first move. Each exhale gets longer. And you can even say those words in your head, holding on and then letting go of those muscles. Feel them relax as your body expands. Now start holding your air out a little longer. Make it a little more uncomfortable, but then it feels a lot better when you take a breath in and let go. And relax. Now your breathing can take a break. You're going to go back to the tucking. This time you're going to hold the top position for about 2 seconds. You'll roll your hips slowly. No abs on this. Hold for a second. Hold on to the hamstrings and then let them go. And roll back up nice and slow. One vertebrae at a time, you're peeling your hips off the ground. The more you roll, the more the hamstrings and the glutes will turn on. And just pay attention to what it feels like and then let them go. Yes. Oh, wait. Or you have to unmute you.
I'm having trouble doing this one with without discomfort, like in the knee. So it's like a little higher on the hamstring. I'm still feeling it in like the belly of the muscle, but you were saying earlier to be less aggressive with the heels.
Yes. So you could either move to a wall or just now move to hook line with feet on the ground. And
Okay.
that's going to be less your knee and more over here.
Okay.
So try that with your feet on the ground.
Gotcha.
And then let me know. Awesome. And now back to the reaching. So elbows bent, Fingers up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, reach up. This time, allow your chest to rotate a little more. So reach across, not all the way, but just towards the opposite knee. And then exhale, bring it down. Inhale, reach across, up and away. Inhale on the way up, exhale on the way down. And allow the shoulder to drive most of the motion. You're still reaching up towards the ceiling. And if you get distracted, go back to your hands. I encourage people to close their eyes for most of this. And can you trace your hands as they're moving with your attention? Are you able to see them with your eyes closed? And relax. And this last round of exhaling, or back to the exhaling, instead of letting go of the tension, so you're exhaling, 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 instead of letting go at the end of the hold, you're gonna hold on to your tension. So you're breathing underneath it. And then you're back to fully exhaling, breathing underneath it. And this would feel a little more uncomfortable because you feel like you're not getting enough air in, and that's okay. We'll take a break and do it again. So in through the nose, full breath out. Hold, and now breathe underneath your tension that you created. And you can almost feel all that tension that you created expand a little bit, but not as much as before. And notice how different the breath in feels. Do you notice a difference of where the air goes? And then take a small break. You're gonna do that again. You wanna make sure that the tension that's created is because you fully exhaled, not because you braced. So go ahead and start again. In through the nose, full breath out, everything is melting. You should feel your low back on the ground. Think of keeping your low back on the ground as you breathe in. That's another way to keep your tension as you breathe in. And take a small break. We'll go one more time. Relax everything. And whenever you're ready, go back to it. Breathe underneath your tension. The inhale should feel pretty deep instead of superficial when you inhale on a relaxed body. It should feel like you're breathing inside your body, right in the middle. Where does the air go when you breathe underneath your tension? Can you bring the attention right there and draw it? And relax. Now the breathing stays the same. Now with the tucking, instead of going up and down, roll a little bit, just where the tailbone's off the ground, not all the way, because we're gonna go here a few rounds. So a little bit of a roll, and then hold for breaths in through the nose. Full breath out like you just did, holding on to the tension as you breathe in. So a little bit of a roll, hold in the middle, and hold for breaths. And Alex, you can do that on the, like in a glute bridge if you want, with your feet on the ground if that hurts your knee. And relax. So that should have been a little more intense. Take a small break. Stretch your knees out. So bring your knees up, kind of stretch your hamstrings. So extend one knee at a time. Awesome. And then let's go 2 more times on this. Roll your hips. Keep that position. And breathe. And it's easy to pay attention to things here because it's a lot going on. You got your hamstrings, your glutes, maybe some calves because you've been here for a while, some abs. And relax. You go 1 more round. So whenever you're ready, roll your hips up. And breathe. What muscles do you feel right now? And relax. Now your legs can take a break. You can even scoop back and put your feet on the ground so you don't have to be in that position. Now we're moving on to the upper body that we started with. This time you won't be going up and down. You're gonna reach both arms up. Your chin is gonna go back, but keep your head relaxed on the ground and just hold. Each exhale, you're being pulled by your fingertips. Inhale, stay there. Exhale, reach up like someone's pulling you up the whole time. And hold for breaths. So feet on the ground or on the chair, whatever's comfortable. And allow your chin to fall back, but keep your head relaxed. Perfect. And you'll keep your arms there the whole time someone's pulling you from your fingertips. Make a conscious effort not using your neck. Each exhale, you're reaching a little more, deflating your body even more. You should feel more abs the more you reach. Shoulders off the ground. And relax completely. Feel everything relaxing. Take a small break. You're gonna go 2 more rounds. So in through the nose, full breath out, reach your arms up. Each exhale, you reach a little more. You're still picturing your whole body deflating. What muscles do you feel working? And rest. And take a break, feel your muscles relax, feel your arms relax, your abs relax. And last one, reach up, reach, 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 shoulders off the ground. Head comes back, but relax your head. And you're being pulled by your fingertips. And rest. So we move on to the next two. We got decline, less exaggerated cat-cow. So if you've done yoga, you know what cat-cow is. This, I just want my hips to drive all the motion. So think of your back pockets doing everything for you. So right here, my back pockets get pulled up. And then when I tuck, think back pockets get pulled down. And then the breathing is exhale, back pockets pull up, so I untuck my hips. Inhale, back pockets get pulled down. Exhale, back pockets get pulled up. And then the upper body, you're getting a nice reach, so you're pushing up. What I don't want is this. So flatten the mid back, and then now you're only moving through your hips. Let's see. And Adrian, get your elbows back a little bit. Yep, awesome. Get a nice little push with your arms. Exhale, untuck the hips. Inhale, tuck the tailbone. Back pockets get pulled down. And you're only moving through your hips. Arms stay still. Inhale, tuck the tailbone. Exhale, untuck the tailbone. And the breathing stays the same. Take all the attention to your back pockets. Now we're moving on to half kneeling. You can have a little bit of support on this if you want with your chair. So one knee is up, one knee is down. Right here. Reach forward either to nothing or to holding onto the chair to help distribute the weight. And then tuck the back pocket. I'm not shoving forward. I'm just pushing the back pocket down, pushing my front foot down, relaxing my upper body and holding. So a lot of muscles are working right now. Let's see. So Stacy, bring your back knee forward. Yep. Same thing, knee in front of hip versus knee behind hip. So slightly behind your knee. Awesome. Good, Christine, tuck your hip. Tuck that back pocket, awesome. And start pushing into the front foot. This should be a little more intense. Relax your shoulders, relax your upper body. You're pushing into your front foot like you're about to pick yourself up, but you don't. And just pay attention to all the muscles working in the lower body. Your quads, maybe some glutes. And relax. Switch sides. And the way you set up, half kneeling. Reach the hips back. That takes some pull off the quad, and then tuck the back pockets. And then hold. And then the front foot should be right in front of your hip. And start pushing into the front foot like you're about to pick yourself up. It should kind of feel like a static lunge or a split squat. And just pay attention to everything working. And relax. Back to the cat-cow on your elbows. Elbows underneath your shoulders. Nice little push through your arms without using your neck. Exhale, untuck the tailbone. Back pockets get pulled up. Inhale, back pockets get pulled down towards the ground. And Sam, get your elbows back a little bit. Good. Shift the way forward from there. Awesome. And Adrian, you can do this too on your back with like pelvic rocks, like this. Inhale, tuck the tailbone. Exhale, untuck. Inhale, tuck. Where are your back pockets? They're either up or on the way down. They're being pulled down towards your knee or they're being pulled up towards the ceiling. And that is driving all of the motion. Back pockets. And then back to half kneeling. One knee up, one knee down. Hinge back. Tuck the back pockets and then start pushing into the front foot. Feel your whole front foot. Can you feel your heel, your toes, your arch, your bottom knee? Everything that's touching the ground right now, just bring the awareness to that as you're holding this position. Can you close your eyes and just picture those spots? And relax, other side. And hinge back, back pocket tuck. And hold. Find all the spots that are touching the ground. Relax your shoulders. And relax. One more to the cat-cow on elbows. And this time, I want your back pockets to continue to pull down, and then your whole spine comes with it. So you're on all fours, and then tuck, inhale, tuck, tuck, until your whole body comes with it, and then exhale as you relax. Your back pockets pull the rest of your body as they get pulled down towards your knees. Now you have your last half kneeling. Hinge back a little bit. When you tuck, the only back pocket, what I don't want is to shove the hip forward. So notice my hip stays in the same spot as I tuck my hips versus doing that. So just the back pocket, front of the hip does not shove forward as I do that. Better. And start pushing into your front foot. Feel your heel in the front, your toes, your arch, everything that's touching the ground. Just find those spots. And switch. And shift back, pull the back pocket down, push into your front foot, and find all those spots that are touching the ground. And relax. Now you're going to go back to your starting position. Feet on the ground, lay with your legs straight, on the chair, whatever you want. And you're going to go back to just paying attention to your regular breathing. You're not going to change anything about it. And just pay attention to your air going in and out. And with each phase of the breath cycle, find something to hold on to. Every time you get distracted, just go back to something in your body. And now see if you can still hold on to your just regular breathing, but then also hold on to the support that you feel with the ground. And feel your weight on the ground as you hold on to your regular breathing. And now start paying attention to your surroundings. Smells, what do you hear? Pay attention to the room around you. Whenever you're ready, start moving around. Nice job, guys. Now you can go take a nap. How was that? Cool. So Alex was having, which can happen. So I can answer your questions after this too, but we can go over a few things that I noticed. Alex was having some, and correct me if I'm wrong, some like pain here when you were doing it. Cool. So that can happen when you're doing the 90-90 or bridging on a chair, because people will drag with their feet, which is not wrong. Some people can feel a lot of hamstring, like proximal hamstring towards the hips when they do this. But there are times where distal hamstring will just completely take over and they feel a lot behind their knee or maybe on their knee. A couple of ways to help with that on the training floor too, not just for these classes, is just tell them to be less aggressive with their feet and more pull with the back pockets. And that might help. The other thing you can do is just put people on the wall, and even if they drag your feet down towards the wall, it's definitely going to get less distal hamstring. That still doesn't work. You can get them on the ground and do hook lying. The only problem with that is a brand new person really struggles tucking in this position, which is why I just love the 90-90 to teach people how to roll their hips. But that would be a few fixes that I would do if that was happening. Anyone else have any problems through it, like pain, discomfort? You can unmute yourself. I don't know if I have to. Are you able to unmute yourself? Cool. No one had problems, pain, issues, discomfort?
I had some knee pain, but that's from an injury.
You had what?
Knee pain, yeah.
On the hand, half kneeling? Okay. There, a couple things, if they're having pain and half kneeling, is one, allowing their foot to drop sometimes can take a little less, or putting their foot down like this, or up, I mean, is going to pull on the quad a little more. So if you allow their foot to come down, that can take a little pressure off the quad and they might feel a little less pain. You could also elevate the back knee like on a 2 Erics pads, because now you're eliminating a little bit of the knee flexion, because the knee flexion is what's pulling a lot on the quad, and that can sometimes give people some discomfort. But shifting back can also help take pressure off their knee, because if you shift back, you're also taking the pull off of the quad versus being here completely straight, and it's eccentrically pulling on that. Holding on to a stool or a chair and allowing people to just distribute their weight a little differently so it doesn't cause them discomfort, that can be another option. But anytime there is like a problem like that and I can't coach them out of it, I will say, well, let's just use this as an assessment, and we can come back to it later, whether it's later that session or later in a few weeks, and see if it's better. So that way they don't see it as a failure, and then they get the mentality of like, I probably will be able to do this eventually. Or we'll never come back to this. So I always like, let's use this as an assessment and come back to it later. So that way I'm like pushing the mentality of if something hurts right now, doesn't mean it'll always hurt. Anything else?
I have a quick question. As for breathing, when breathing in, do you recommend at all bringing the tongue to the top of the mouth as you breathe in through the nose?
Yeah, I would cue that for someone. I just wouldn't do that like day one. For someone who's been with me for a while and I'm trying to get even more detailed, that tongue on the roof of the mouth for sure, yeah.
And then in the opposite direction, do you have a preference on the fogging up the glass, where it's that kind of like more open mouth exhale versus the pursed lips, or does it come down to the person and what they feel?
It depends on whether they present as like a wide infrasternal angle or a narrow. And everybody know what the infrasternal angle is? Well, a little. Who doesn't? and has never played around with this. Cool. So what it just tells me is what breathing strategy is going to work best for that person. The best doesn't mean that if you do the opposite breathing strategy with that person, they're not going to produce results. They can. It just tells you like what muscles have more leverage than others. So if someone's a wide infrasternal angle, so their angle underneath the sternum is wider than 110 degrees, they are going to benefit a little more by having a pursed lip slow exhale, because that's going to help get external obliques to help close down that angle and make it more dynamic, which means that they have more mobility throughout the rib cage. If someone's narrow, if they exhale hard and with pursed lips, they already have a lot of external obliques. So for them, you use the fog up the glass. I find more narrow people than wide, which is why I just throw fog up the glass. And that's why. But if I had someone doing a one-on-one, or I have my clients who I've already worked with, I could tell them to breathe differently in a class.
Okay,
But
thank you.
blanket breathing for everybody, I always go fog. Good question. Any other question? Or questions? No? Sam?
It's just an observation. This is the other Sam. Yeah, it's just the breathing into the low back when you were trying to get us to like breathe into the cylinder. That cue was amazing for me, at least. I don't know. I was just able to thinking of like imprinting the lower back as you took that inhale was so helpful.
Perfect. And that's, yeah, trying, if you want like a goal accomplished, like I want them to breathe underneath their tension, find 20 different ways to say the same cue and just see what works for someone. Because there's so many different ways. Like breathe underneath the tension, that might be mean nothing to someone. So like the next round, I'll say, keep this tension that you just created. Or the next round, I'll say, keep the ribs down as you breathe in, because that's another way to keep tension. Or the next round, keep your low back on the ground, and that's another way to get people to breathe underneath their tension. Nice, good question.
Not really a question, it's a comment, but it's all of the great things that I love about yoga and none of the bad stuff that makes my body feel like crap, you know?
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's, if you weren't here for the beginning classes, the reason why I created this was because I got amazing results with yoga. Last year, I mean, I've been dealing with debilitating depression and anxiety and fatigue for about 2 years. And last year I just said, fuck it, I'll stop trying to train. Like I keep feeling guilty that I can't go to the gym and train. So I'll just do something like yoga, which I used to bash and think it was stupid because it doesn't make you flexible, it doesn't make you strong. But then I started doing it and I actually got like a lot of healing from it. It was like meditating. However, I'm an ex-gymnast and very flexible and strong, and I take cues fast. So it was very beneficial for me. And then I look around and all the people who are doing great are the people that look just like me and move like me. And then I think about my clients who can't even take a cue and can't like touch their toes and they're not flexible. So I wanted to make something for them and the general.
Same girl, same.
Yeah, and then take my idea of movement and put it into it, which is all the breathing stuff and no woo-woo stuff. Because I feel like my clients would get turned off by some of the stuff that they say in yoga. So I'm just trying to take that concept and make it more, I don't want to say scientific, but more like a Sam Harris approach to meditation. Do you all know who that is? When I listen to him, it's like he's giving me the reason to meditate makes a lot of sense. And it's not like you become more in the present moment and then you're just more grateful. No, like why does that work? It's because you're training yourself to pay attention. You're training yourself to not get distracted. You're training yourself to not get driven by your thoughts. So the way he describes meditation is kind of how I'm trying to describe all this stuff, to take the woo-woo stuff out of it. So everybody can get turned on to it and not get turned off. Awesome. Any other questions regarding breathing, implementing this? It doesn't have to be specifically about this. It can be movement in general. No questions? You sure?
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
So I mostly work with high school athletes. I coach high school swimming and water polo. Do you work with like teens or kids at all? Because I know like I've gotten in like the PRI stuff, and for me it's hard to like get like 14-year-old boys to like understand the why or be willing to do something involving breathing, because to them it's like easy and not fun.
Yeah, I used to. At my old gym, I had a lot of high school athletes because my employer did, and a lot of college athletes. Not anymore. So with them, it's more like if you had a group setting, it's like 90-90 and quadruped, and just throwing these cues into the regular exercises, like squatting and planking. And the way you sell them on breathing is like show them if they're doing like a plank, let's say elevated plank, and they're like this. Now fully exhale, push into my elbow, push into the back, keep pushing, keep pushing. Like, do you feel abs? Like, yeah, like that's what breathing does. It just gets your abs going. It gets you in a position where you can get really strong. The way I've gotten people, not necessarily athletes, but people that care about lifting, which athletes do care, I will show them this visual, especially a new person, because I'm tiny, so people think I can't lift anything. I will show them like why position is important. Like, why are we working on this? I'll say, you tell me, and I'll grab like a 70, 80-pound kettlebell that they don't think I can grab. I'm like, you tell me what's a better position for you to lift? Here, where you can hold a lot of weight, see how I'm keeping my position? Or here, and then I'll throw the 70, 80-pound kettlebell. I'm like, you tell me, what's more stable? Like this position or that position? So I bring it back to whatever they find meaningful and show them how it affects that. Another thing that I did back in the day was I would take something that they found meaningful, like jumping on one leg and landing. I had this one girl where I had her jump on one leg, and every time she'd fall, she'd go like this. She's like, oh, my balance is bad. And then I had a video of her doing it on both sides. And then 3 weeks later, I was like, do you want to know why you're doing the breathing exercises? So then we did the video again, and it was so much better. I'm like, that's why, because see how the position changes? So finding something that's meaningful for them, but then also using words like breathing is just for abs. So if you're showing someone this for the first time, instead of saying, all right, so now the breathing component, just say, so now the ab component, you're gonna start with a full exhale. So you just take the breathing away from it and try not to make like breathing a separate entity of your lifting. You just sprinkle it in there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
And if they care about things like squatting, it's like this, you're just doing this exercise to hit certain depth in your squat. And you can even show them, like, what does this look like to you? Like, oh, wow, that looks like a squat. I'm like, yeah, that's all we're doing is we're warming you up for squatting. And find that and just kind of throw purpose at that. And might be a little bit manipulative, but I'll say things like, yeah, I'm really curious how your squat will feel after a few exercises like this, or whatever they like hiking. Like, I'm really curious how hiking will feel after this. Because when you're dealing with people who are not strong and you do a little bit of strength training, they're going to get better at everything. So it's not wrong for me to say that hiking is going to feel better after they do some training with me. So I always say that line. I'm like, I'm curious how your hiking will feel after this, or I'm curious how your tennis game will feel after this. And that just puts the idea of like, oh, this might help my life outside of the gym, not just here. I do have an article on that on TrueCoach. Here, I can pull it up if someone else has a question, and then I'll share it in the chat. So here is one of them. So that's my onboarding protocol. And then the purpose one of like how I talk to people about breathing is here. The first one that I shared, the Ultimate Onboarding Program, I explain how I'm able to convince people to do just a bunch of breathing and warm-up exercises for the first 2 days of training. I train people in a semi-private setting. So, and I wanted to add a 4th person to my semi-private versus 3 people. And we really pride ourselves that people are very independent at our gym. They can take their program and I can show them an exercise and they catch on really fast because we keep things very consistent. But sometimes it can get thrown off when we add a brand new person to our semi-private. So what we did was in our onboarding, they have like 1 or 2 days where they basically do pretty much what you did today, but less flowy, more reps. And I used to try to do that because I thought people needed that because they were dysfunctional and broken like 6 years ago. And I would say things like that. I'm like, oh, you're working on the basics, or you're building a foundation, or you have to fix your posture before we add load. And even though I still do the same thing, my understanding of it is totally different and the language I use is totally different, because I still want them to focus on all those things for a few sessions, because if they do, they're so much better clients towards the end. Like they can squat, they can deadlift, like they don't have programming constraints because they paid attention for 2 whole days on all the cues and the lingo and the position. So the way we do it now is when someone comes to us, we say, so you're coming here to strength train, right? Yeah. And we have a success board, and I make sure that I'm pointing out to their end goal. So if they just want to lift, I make sure that I'm pointing to Micah's 300-pound deadlift. So that way they know we're lifting with people. They know that this is not going to be forever. Or if they're scared and they're a pain client, I'll make sure I point to like Janet, like, oh, you see how Janet squatted pain-free for the first time, and she has a knee replacement and a hip replacement. So I show them the end goal. And then I say, so the way we see strength training is like a skill. So any skill is very hard to pick up at first, like driving. So the first 2 days is kind of like you learning how to drive in the parking lot. So if you mess up, it's totally fine. You're just getting used to where everything is. So the first 2 days with us is you just learning the cues, learning the lingo, learning the position. Just like if you were to learn how to rock climb, it's not uncommon for you to spend 45 minutes just working on your foot position and hand position. So the first day when you come in, that's what you'll be doing, is just learning all the language and the lingo and the cues. So now I just convince them to basically do a 45-minute warm-up when they first come in, but they're not seeing it as just a warm-up. They're seeing it as like building the skill to be successful in this gym. And that has worked really, really well. And the people that come out of that program, I'm mind blown of how independent they are and how fast they catch on and how fast they progress. Even though, and you'll see in the article, it's just the same shit throughout the whole time. But I do make it seem like it's very novel. Like the first day they come in, they have a warm up and they go through that for 45 minutes. And then I'm like, and next time you have a whole other day, which is pretty much the same stuff, but a little progressed. So even the way I introduce things, if I give them a different kettlebell, I make that a big deal. Like, oh, Janet, you're moving on to the orange kettlebell. And in the beginning, adding like 2 pounds, 5 pounds is a very novel experience. They're like, ooh, I get to move up to the blue kettlebell. And that eventually goes away. So take advantage that adding weights can be very novel and you can keep the moves the same. But the onboarding shows my programming, and it shows like what I do with people. So if you have any questions on that, you can message me or ask me next week. Good questions. Anyone else? Questions, comments? Complaints? Cool. Well, have a great Sunday, and I will see you all next week.